Well, hello everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to tonight's Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and Corey.
Hello, everybody.
We're continuing our series about my personal perspective on psychic abilities. And tonight we're going to talk about how psychic abilities support your life purpose.
Yes.
Before I do that, I must introduce the show called Unlocking Your Truth, radio show and podcast, which broadcasts live every Tuesday from 7 to 8 o'clock in the evening Pacific time on 101.7 FM across the Fraser Valley. And it also goes to the major podcasting platforms, and you can also find over 350 past episodes on those platforms and on my website, drlesliephillips.com. And the radio station broadcasts from the unceded territory of the Stolo Nation. And we do pre-record the show, and if you enjoy the show and you'd like to be part of the live audience, then you can join the Awaken Your Psychic Abilities Facebook group, or you can follow my YouTube channel. If you search for Dr. Leslie Phillips, you will find me on there. All right, so psychic abilities support your life purpose.
Or your why.
Yes, yeah, we all have a reason for being here. There is a reason why you and I are here in a body. And to talk about this, I thought we might start with the idea of your soul. Your soul or your oversoul as a container for all your multi-dimensional experiences. So your soul or your oversoul, perhaps we should say your oversoul, is infinite and creates in multiple realities and has garnered such infinite wisdom and experiences that it's beyond our comprehension as human beings. So on the level of that oversoul, there is so much that you have to draw from. And way more than in any one lifetime that you could possibly include. So we might say when the oversoul decides upon an incarnation, it decides on a theme that it would like to explore, a general theme that it would like to explore, and looks at the idea of a particular cultural setting, particular location, family group, and so on, that would just be ideal, an ideal match for exploring that theme. And we can make some different themes up. Let's say the soul wanted to explore the idea of self-righteousness and judgment. So maybe it might incarnate in a particular religion at a very polarized time where there's religious wars of that religion pitched against another religion. That would give, and where the family being born into is, extreme adherence to a religious doctrine. Well, that might give a person in that lifetime the opportunity to explore the theme. Another theme might be to consciously develop your psychic abilities. It might be to be a healer, expand your consciousness on the level of being a healer, for example. And so we have this idea of, okay, there's this incarnation and it's going to be in this arena. So then the soul will select, kind of key in a particular arrangement of, or access to everything that that incarnation might need in order to be kitted out to explore that theme. So a metaphor for this is, let's say you get loaded up with a tool belt and we put in that tool belt the things that you require. So if let's say you're going to be a carpenter, then we would include in the tool belt a hammer. What's some carpentry tools, Corey? An axe,
Saw,
a saw,
screwdrivers.
yeah, hammers and nails and just all the things a carpenter might need. But let's say you were going to be an artist and explore that creative aspect in that way. Well, the tool belt might have a palette, some paints, some brushes, and some canvases. Or say you're going to be a gardener, or the tool belt might have a lawnmower, some fertilizer, some seeds. And so you get the idea that we bring in, keyed into our chakra system, specific psychic abilities that relate specifically to our life purpose. So each and every one of us is unique. Each and every one of us has a unique life purpose. And each and every one of us has a unique psychic ability blueprint. And so in a way, we can say this, you can look at it from either end of that. If you look at your psychic ability blueprint, then by exploring your psychic ability blueprint, you can develop awareness of your purpose this lifetime. The other way round, we might say, and I might need to back up to be very clear about explaining this, so tell me if I'm not making sense, Corey. The other way is we could say, well, what life challenges are showing up for you this lifetime? And then we can look at what chakras those challenges map to, and we can look at what psychic abilities are channeled through that chakra, and we can see that there's a relationship, that as you transcend those challenges, as you learn and develop yourself in that particular theme, then the psychic abilities are revealed and get clearer. Is it making sense, Corey?
I think so. Probably.
Probably.
Because I know, so the thing with the topic we have tonight is people, I think we all have purposes in life, but we don't delve into them very deeply. They're usually just up front in our intellect, and what you're trying to do is cover it in the psychic aspect, in your spirituality. But and people, when they think about a life purpose as being a spiritual thing, they look at it as, oh, I've got to be on a trek, I've got to do this wonderful thing and go on a journey and meet a yogi and things like that. But that's not what it's about. You're here for a reason, and it doesn't matter. But it doesn't your life purpose, your why, is not necessarily this big, huge thing. It could be the smallest little thing in.
Well, I could say that another way.
Okay.
In that, there's purpose in every moment and in every small
Yes.
thing.
True.
So your life purpose is meaningful to you. You have a unique life purpose, and you came here to shine your light, or another way of saying that, to channel your unique frequency, because you are a unique aspect of divine consciousness. There's nobody else who is the exact same perspective that you are. So if you think about the Big Bang, or the one that contains everything, the great all that is, we are fragments of that one, like pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. Each one of us is completely different, a different aspect of God, a different perspective of God. And so one major purpose that we all share is that we have come here on earth to reflect that unique aspect of divine consciousness that we are. And just like a big jigsaw puzzle, if you have a piece missing, then it ruins the whole jigsaw puzzle, doesn't it? So you're part of this great design. We're all part of this great design. We all fit together like pieces in a jigsaw puzzle. And the jigsaw puzzle only gets made when each of us shines our unique vibration. So many of us get here and we get messed up. We go through life challenges. We don't know how to transcend them. We start to get caught up in competition levels, or invalidation, or unworthiness. And pretty soon we're not being the one we came here to be, we're being something else entirely. And then the harmonics that's intended for the human species is out of alignment. So what we were talking about tonight is the relationship between life purpose and psychic abilities. And your psychic abilities, what I was trying to say earlier, were keyed in at birth to support your life purpose. And so by exploring your psychic abilities is a good way to also reveal your life purpose. It helps give you some understanding about what's unique about you, your unique flavor. And there is a relationship between, so we all have these 7 chakras, but your 7 chakras and my 7 chakras, they're not the same, right? They're keyed differently. They relate specifically to you. And each one of us journeys through our own chakra system in a unique dance, in a unique path. And we encounter challenges, life lessons, things that we need to overcome, transcend, learn about. And as we do that, we reveal more and more of ourselves and our divine aspect to ourselves. And let's say, if you are here to be, and your purpose is to help people, having a look at your psychic ability blueprint can help you understand how you might best be able to help people. If you have a strong inkling that you're here to be a healer or a reader, understanding your unique psychic ability blueprint can give you information about how you might go about doing that, what your strengths are. Because there's 22 different psychic abilities. And so you might have a really good strength in your clairvoyance, or you might have a strength in your knowingness, or your clairaudience, or your telepathy. Maybe you're here to be an animal communicator and your strong point is telepathy. Or maybe you're here to be an inspirational speaker and your strong point is telepathy. So I hope I'm starting to paint a picture for you about the relationship between your life purpose and your psychic abilities.
And again, I just want to reiterate, don't mistake a physical life purpose for a spiritual life purpose as well. I mean, just, is your life purpose to become the president of a company? Or is your life purpose as a president of a company to be able to do good for people? There's a difference. There is a difference there. So
well, yeah, let's make something up. Let's say the life purpose is to balance giving and receiving. So you could be a stay-at-home mom or a CEO of a big multinational company. Either one of those scenarios gives you the opportunity to work out your life purpose of balancing giving and receiving. Or your life purpose may be to open to unconditional love. Again, being a nurse or a carer of an invalid person, or a prisoner with a life sentence. I mean, any of these life circumstances allows you opportunity to explore the theme and fulfill your purpose, which always relates to expanding and growing on the level of your higher being. We're going to take a break and we'll be back after some messages. Welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Leslie and with Corey. We're talking about the relationship between psychic abilities and life purpose this evening.
we are.
The show got off to a little bit of a shaky start with some technical issues. But we're doing the best that we can this evening. And so I'm happy to discuss this with the live studio audience. If anyone in the audience has something that they'd like to offer or ask about on the subject of psychic abilities and life purpose.
Yes, we have somebody who's asked a question. Let me get this back up for you here. And it looks like Lori says, how do you discover your life purpose?
How do you discover your life purpose?
So folks, get your questions ready.
So how do you think you discover your life purpose, Laurie? So we've just been talking about how your life purpose is directly related to your unique profile of psychic abilities. So one way of discovering your life purpose is to delve into that unique profile of psychic abilities. So you came in uniquely, specifically keyed, specifically primed for a particular theme and a particular purpose. So, for example, I do a type of reading called a psychic ability blueprint, and it lasts 90 minutes and we go through 22 different psychic abilities channeled through the chakra system. And we look at that in terms of what was the birth profile, what's the profile now, what's the journey been from A to B, from birth to now, on all of those psychic abilities. And we look at the development that and growth that the person has gone through from then to now. And we look at where the person might be blocked. So that original birth profile gives us an idea of how the system was keyed, where the emphasis was, what kind of passion you were bringing in to explore this lifetime, and then how it's changed from then to now gives us an idea of how you're doing with respect to that. For example, is everything blocked now? Is everything blocked and you need help clearing what you've built up so far that's interfering with you expressing your purpose? Or maybe you've done really well and you've expanded tremendously and the growth is continuing. Or maybe you even fulfilled that initial purpose and you've reset, rekeyed the chakra system, rekeyed the psychic ability blueprint to fill in with another purpose that perhaps you didn't know that you'd get the chance to move on to, but the lifetime has gone so well that actually you do. So one way to discover your life purpose is by understanding your chakra system, understanding the life lessons that you've been going through, and understanding the particular psychic abilities that you have brought with you this lifetime. Hope that makes sense, Laurie.
Probably does, Dr. Leslie. That's a different Laurie than Laurie.
Oh, is it?
Yes. Yeah, this is from Karen, and we're extending your readings a little bit on each of these, Dr. Leslie, because there's been issues with the people coming on board and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So this is from Karen. Karen says, how can someone trust their intuition when a person in your life lies and gaslights you frequently? And this frequently, and this leaves you questioning if you are being gaslit or having an imbalance in your psyche.
Yeah, that's very, very challenging when you've got somebody who's a gaslighter, who's got like narcissistic tendencies. It's very, very challenging. So what was the question? How can you read it again?
How can you trust your intuition? We have a lot of those.
You need to learn some coping mechanisms if you're going to stay in a relationship with somebody who's like that, then you need to learn some coping mechanisms and meditation and learning about your energy and how to own your energy, just finding ways to resource yourself. Because a person like that gets in your space can be very, very, very invalidating and can have you feeling completely unworthy and completely second guessing yourself and not trusting yourself. And so you have to just realize the situation that you're in, and you can, the techniques that I teach in my psychic development classes can be very, very helpful for this, because they help you to own your space. They help you to clear that other person's energy from your space. They help you to be able to observe your reality from a neutral perspective, so that you can actually see what's actually going on, and that this has nothing to do with your value or your worth, and that no, you're not going mad, that you know, because sometimes when somebody's gaslighting you, they are telling you that the reality is different than what it is. And so you know, to be able to hold your energy in spite of those types of circumstances going on. So the techniques that I teach people to develop their psychic abilities are the exact same techniques that I would teach people who want to know how to own their space, and to be able to process those kinds of experiences, which can be very intense and very invalidating. But one of the things that they do is they give you an opportunity to really heal yourself on a very deep level, because yes, it can make you feel very unworthy, and it can make you judge yourself for being in that situation. So I hope some of what I've said as you found helpful, Karen. There is on my website a free meditation that teaches grounding and centering, and that will give you a couple of tools. The grounding will help you to release and let go of the foreign energy, and the centering will help you to be neutral about what's going on.
Wonderful. I'll put that on there in a moment. So Lori said, thank you. It makes sense. I'd like a blueprint reading. So I put down the links to the blueprint page for everybody.
Yeah, I'd be delighted to give you a blueprint reading, Lori. Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, this is from My Yoga Essence. I don't know which is your first name, My or Yoga, but sorry, My Yoga Essence. Do we have a global collective life purpose? Like that question.
Yes, we do have a global collective life purpose, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. It is, well, let me say it in a different way. On this planet, it is an ascension planet. We're on a pathway to ascend. And what does that mean? We're actually shifting in a way from, we're moving into what I would think of more like a fourth chakra type consciousness versus a third chakra type consciousness. So that if you think about a lot of the issues that we have been having on this planet relate very much to competition, greed, power, domination, all of those kinds of things, control over others, hierarchies. Those are challenges of the third chakra. And we're moving into relating to and judgment, which can be a challenge of the fourth chakra, actually, and an unbalance in having and not having can be fourth chakra. So we're moving into unconditional love, acceptance, allowing the variety of everyone to coexist peacefully. And so our collective goal is to bring the vibration of love. So all the great spiritual masters, that's what they were teaching us. Jesus taught us love. Buddha taught us love. Muhammad taught us love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. And we've not been doing that. We've been judging our neighbor, hating our neighbor, killing our neighbor. And so we have a collective purpose to ascend to being able to operate from unconditional love, where we are able to look at the great variety and expressions of people who are here, accept them for who they are, love them for who they are, allow them the freedom to be themselves. And as that happens, remember earlier I was talking about this jigsaw puzzle. If you imagine each human being is a piece of the jigsaw puzzle. And if we can love and accept each other, we get to fill out the jigsaw puzzle so that everything's in its right alignment and everything works harmonically on this planet. So the collective life purpose is for each and every one of us to anchor our light, express ourselves, and operate from a higher consciousness level of love. Or at least for enough of us to collectively to be doing that, that it shifts the planet into a new earth, which I believe is already happening. If you look around, you probably believe it isn't, because there's such polarization. You know, we've had the pandemic and the war in the Ukraine and all of these different things in politics and so on. But what is happening, if you notice, is that everybody is being really challenged to turn within and look at themselves and look at what they really want and look at what they really believe. And a lot of the things that have been hidden, that people have felt they can't do anything about, it's changing. They're not hidden. And people are starting to believe they can do something about it and are beginning to do things about it. So the Black Lives Matter and the Me Too movement and the you know, people working against child sex slavery and all of these dreadful things that go on this planet. People are, all the pharmaceutical, some of the, you know, mispractices of the pharmaceutical industry, people are starting to stand up again, stand up for creating a new way, a different way, a better way. Thanks for that question. My yoga essence.
It's Carol. It's Carol, she's on her husband's account, she says.
Oh.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Leslie. This question from SG. She says, my life purpose could be connected to the second chakra because I not only have had issues there my whole life, but I have been told I'm very empathic and clairsentient. However, I do not know what to do with it. What's the point of being able to feel everyone's energy?
Well, so here's
one.
the thing. Here's the thing. Haha. Clairsentience. The primary purpose of clairsentience is not for you to feel other people's energy, believe it or not. It's for you to tap into your own emotions. So clairsentience is for body-spirit communication. You are spirit, you have a body. Your body has emotions. Those emotions give you feedback as to how the reality is being experienced. Oh, I love this. I'm so happy. I feel great. Oh my God, I'm so frightened. Oh, I don't like this. You know, that's your body telling you. And so clairsentience is the psychic ability for you to tune into your body and its emotional expression so that you can listen to it and respond to help the body not feel so afraid, or to encourage the body, you know, the body personality level in its exploration of what it feels passionate about. Problem is, most people don't have an idyllic childhood. And so they learn, how is daddy feeling right now? Is he angry? Is he going to tell me off and send me to my room? How's mummy feeling right now? Oh, is she in a depression? You know, am I going to get my dinner this evening, or is she going to be in a pool of tears at the kitchen? You know, whatever it is. So we learn to focus it outward, and we can use it to read other people's emotions. But in my experience, it's quite common for people to have it focused outwardly and exclusively be using it for that. And so, yeah, and then that is very overwhelming, confusing, discombobulating, And now you're tuning into other people's emotions more than you're tuning into your own emotions. Now you don't know the difference between who's I feel anger. Whose anger is this? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? You know, and so on. So what's the point of constantly feeling other people's emotions? The point in that is you are not understanding or in charge of your gift of clairsentience, and you can learn to use it differently within yourself for your own body-spirit communication, and you can learn to manage your energy so that you discharge and let go of the foreign energy in your space. So hopefully that makes sense. I have a fantastic clairsentience development course. It's called Clairsentience Training Program, Become an Enlightened Empath. And the prerequisite for that course is the Unlock Your Intuition course, which I'm teaching at the moment, and it's not too late to join. But, you know, that pathway of doing that Unlock Your Intuition course and the Clairsentience training course can take you from where you are now to, you know, emotional overwhelm, emotional roller coaster ride, emotional confusion. It's quite common as well for empaths to get confused between the second and fourth chakra and confused about, you know, sex and love. And not only to be feeling other people's emotions, but other people's sexual energy as well. So it's just like an emotional soup. And so how to, you know, sort that emotional soup, that energetic soup out. Those courses, and they're on my website, give you a pathway to doing that. So I can't remember whose name it was that asked that question, but SG, yes, SG. So that gave you some good information, which I hope you can hear. So people assume, oh God, I've got this gift and it's a problem. It's the bane of my life, this gift. But actually, what they're actually talking about is not the gift. What they're talking about is the challenge before the gift is revealed.
Well, Dr. Leslie, it's time for another break.
Okay.
And we'll do that and come back.
Sure. Welcome back, listeners, to Unlocking Your Truth. Tonight's show has been about psychic abilities and life purpose. Before the break, we answered a question from a member of our live studio audience, and she was talking about what's the point of clairsentience, what's the point of being an empath, what's the point of tuning in to other people's emotions. And I won't answer it again because we already answered it. But what it enabled me to talk about and what it made me think of is this idea that we all go through life challenges. If you look at your life challenges, you will most likely be able to map those life challenges to a particular chakra. And that particular chakra channels certain psychic abilities. And so you start to be able to see the other side of this challenge are these gifts. So in the case of the person that asked the question about being an empath, the challenge is emotional overwhelm. The gift is the gift of clairsentience, clear feeling. So when you are overwhelmed with other people's energy, you're not experiencing clear feeling. You're experiencing the challenge that you have yet to overcome so that you can get to clear feeling. And the reason that I'm mentioning this again is because I just put on my website about a week or so ago a really fantastic infographic that you actually can download it for free. And it's on the About page on my website.
Yeah, I'll put that on.
Yeah, and it will basically, you can hover your mouse over any chakra and it will pop up some notes about what kinds of challenges relate to that chakra. And then when you overcome those challenges, some notes about what psychic abilities can be revealed. And so you can start to develop a little bit of an understanding about yourself. And of course, that diagram also relates very directly to the psychic ability blueprint reading, because that's exactly what we're doing in the psychic ability blueprint reading. We're looking at your life challenges as part of it and relating it to your psychic abilities.
Okay, so she says, you're welcome. Wow, whoa, wow. It's very interesting. The challenge is very confusing. I guess you want another question, do you, Dr. Leslie?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. This is from Brian. Brian says, what would the life purpose be if you seem to receive a lot of wisdom beyond the intellect? You can see connections and signs and know what they're about rather quickly. Teaching, maybe? I'm curious, as these things seem to be happening to me and I know they're important.
So, gosh, Brian, honestly, to look at that, it'd probably be better to have a psychic ability blueprint reading, because that could relate to many, many different things, many different purposes. And so, but I would say that that's a sign that you've got it going on. That's a sign that you're in alignment. That's a sign that your energy's lined up. If you're experiencing synchronicities in your life, and things are showing up in just the right timing, and you are having a knowing or, wisdom or intuition about your life circumstances, that's a sign that you've got your energy in alignment and that things are going smoothly and going with the flow. So as opposed to struggling with some challenges, that sounds more like what happens when you've got through the other side of some challenges and things start going your way, that you've healed yourself and that you've cleared some of the blocks so that the main vibration that you're radiating is you, and therefore life is going along nicely. That's what that sounds like. But to look at your life purpose, I think I'd need to look at a more detailed reading of you. I actually think Brian might have had his blueprint done at one point or another.
So Lori Wag says, I couldn't get it to work. I'm not sure what she meant by that.
Yeah, because, Lori, you have to download it and open it up in Adobe Reader.
Oh.
It won't work if you just click on it and it opens up in the browser. It says on the chart, important for the interactive PDF to work, you must download and save it to your computer and then open it in Adobe Reader.
Where does it say that, Dr. Leslie?
Under the form that you fill out in order to download it.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay. That explains that. This is from Tina. Tina says, what is the chakra or psychic gift associated with the challenge of sexual abuse?
So, well, okay, in very, 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 very simple terms, we're looking at the lower chakras, and we're looking at the second chakra relates to sexuality. The first chakra relates to survival. So if there's been sexual abuse, then often what comes up is survival challenges, because depending on the abuse, I mean, you can just be very afraid for your life. So survival instinct, healing, and second chakra relates to clairsentience. And we talked about that earlier, that people can control each other energetically on the level of, sexual energy. So I would say, but really an abuse situation like that, it can affect you on all levels, many levels. Could be crown chakra. People can be controlling at the crown chakra, manipulative, make you believe some things. Oh no, this is fine. This is our secret. This is how all, I don't know, uncles and little girls behave, or whatever it is. That would be crown. So some of the programming can be at the crown chakra, could be at the sixth chakra. This is our special reality that we go into together, but we don't talk to anyone else outside of that reality. Or could be the fifth chakra, don't speak up, don't tell anybody. Fourth chakra, just confusion about love, or feeling unloved and feeling unworthy and undeserving. Third chakra, again, being controlled, being manipulated. And then second chakra is relating to emotionality and sexuality, and being able to, the clairsentience, being able to tune into feelings. So I would say, sexual abuse could affect you on all chakras, on all levels, deliver a whole load of unworthiness for you to have to work your way through. And so on the surface, we might say, well, the main thing is the first and second chakra, but as I just described, it can be the whole system. But you might store a lot of the experiences in the area of your body where the abuse happened.
Brian says, that makes a lot of sense. I just wish I felt like I had come through those life challenges. It still feels challenging, but there is a flow of some kind, and things have changed for sure.
And of course, Brian, as long as we're in a body, there will be challenges. You don't come to this planet and not be challenged. My experience is, though, that the more that you can learn to master your energy, the smoother the ride you can have. Because we're always growing while we're on Earth. And so, yeah, of course, you're always going to be in some kind of growth cycle. You're always going to feel challenged on some level or another. But you can, as the signs that you're talking about make me think that overall you're doing quite well.
I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult for people to understand that the difference between spirit and physical nature, the spiritual nature and physical nature, and very difficult for them to understand that they come to this reality choosing the challenges that they have in this life, and to it's not about learning, it's about experiencing. And I think your couple of, if you go back to the two previous podcasts on the difference between spirituality and physical nature, it's a really good can give you a really good understanding of that. Because I think a lot of people are they get stuck in that why does this happen to me? Why is this, why don't I have a life purpose? Why don't I do it? It's got nothing to do with, you're not being punished, you're not being manipulated. This is you, your spirit you, doing the physical you. And it's hard to accept sometimes, but it is what it is. Right, Dr. Leslie?
Right.
You were taking a sip of tea, were you?
I must say, I wasn't quite listening to everything you said.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Leslie. How nice of you.
Charming.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So,
sure.
I think one of the things that it's not a question, but it's sort of like my question, and it's I find people feel that they get locked into a life purpose, that they feel they have one life purpose and they get locked into it, and they can't walk away, or like I look at things like psychologists and doctors who are just like, they just had too much and they just stay with it. And I look at you, you're a good example of just the opposite of that. Um, going from science to psychic, from scientist to psychic. How do you, how did you, like, how did you just switch that off
Well, so
or switch that
one of
on?
the things I wanted to say, listening to what you're saying, is your purpose is basically to do you, be you. Your purpose is to be yourself and follow your passion. And so long as you're doing that, then that's your purpose. And so there might be a time in your life where it feels like your passion is to be a scientist. And there might be a time in your life where it feels like your passion is to be a psychic. But the second part of your question, how did I turn that off? Well, I didn't just turn it off, but I focused on another aspect of myself and I grew it. And I would say that one of the things I learned on my path relates to intellect versus intuition. Because I had a very powerful intellect, having a PhD, and most of us are trained in our intellect and have a dominant intellect. And this is one of the biggest challenges for people when it comes to developing their psychic abilities and when it comes to developing their clairvoyance, is they get stuck in their intellect and they think that the intellect is the highest form of expression. And it isn't. It's the highest form of expression of the physical body. But as everything about the body, there are limits to the intellect. And so part of my path has been navigating between the intellect and the intuition and learning how to separate those two things and how to operate from the intuitive gifts versus allowing the intellect to dominate. And I teach that. And I would say most of the people I teach get caught in their intellect. And having been through that myself, I can help them to get through that.
Yeah, Tina says, I agree, Corey. I'm actually grateful for my life challenges and growth that has come from them.
Was that the bit that I didn't listen to?
Somewhat, it's a little bit about it. But no, I just basically, it's fun to look back on your life, on the challenges that you've had, and see that most challenges end up opening up a different door. Like,
they do.
as long as you don't get locked in them, right?
Yeah, I remember the day that I decided to be a psychic. And I had been laid off from my job. And I had, after my PhD, I worked in Denmark and I had a very good job, well-paid job. And I moved back to England to do a different job. And then I got laid off from that job and I was really mad about how somebody else could control my life and make decisions that altered my life. And I said, I I never, ever, 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 ever want to be beholden to someone else being able to make those kind of decisions again. And so I want to be the navigator of my own reality. And that's when that journey started, to developing my psychic abilities and turning into the person I am today.
That's wonderful.
It took
We're
some
glad you
time
did.
to get from there to here, but yeah,
Anyway, Dr. Leslie, guess what?
time to stop.
It's time to stop. And we'll
Okay.
see all you folks next week for the next part of the series.